Hello and welcome to Crawford Stadium, where your North Penn Knights will battle the Truman Tigers. I'm Sean Hagan, and alongside me for tonight's game is Kelly Riccardi. The Tigers come into this matchup with a 2-6 record off a recent 49-0 loss to CB West. Meanwhile, the Knights come in off one of their biggest games of the season with a 17-12 loss to CB East. However, they looked very impressive, and the team played strong all night. They knew they needed to stop the Patriots running back Brian Tingle. Tingle picked up the first touchdown of the game, giving the Patriots the lead. Here you see Brian Tingle just running through the North Penn off defense in the early part of the first half. There was that first touchdown that we just talked about. Brian Tingle just looked really impressive. Here you'll see Chris Brown throw an interception that stalled a North Penn offensive drive, resulting in this touchdown run by the CB East Patriots. They would go on the lead 14-0 in the early going, as you see Zach Thomas on the sideline. North Penn would have to find someone to fill in for the injured Zach Thomas. Mark Fisher would be a good candidate to do that, picking up this long reception down the sideline for a good 50 yards. Here you'll see Chris Brown firing over the middle again with another interception, stalling another North Penn drive. However, the North Penn fans were there to support this Dan Brown touchdown run, which got North Penn on the board in the second half. North Penn managed to come back very strong here with this Chris Brown touchdown pass to Mark Fisher. This put the Knights down by 2. They went for the 2-point conversion and unfortunately failed. Now right here you'll see a very controversial penalty called on the North Penn Knights. It was a 15-yard personal foul called against Sean Brockington, which led to this 37-yard field goal to give the CB East Patriots the win. The Patriots would just continue to run the clock out and beat North Penn 17-12. Kelly, North Penn did look very well. They lost 17-12, but they looked very good in their loss. How do you think North Penn's going to do tonight?
Well, Sean, I think the Knights need to play strong defense. You really saw a different Knights team come out in the second half than you did in that first half of that game. They came really strong. They played well. Everything connected. We need to see that in the first quarter and the very first second at kickoff. We need to see key seniors and juniors step up. Dan Chang, Larry Cannon, Mike Yeager, Dan Brown, Fran Mahan all need to step up this game. Cannell Smallwood, who's been injured with an MCL injury, is back again tonight. We need to see big defensive plays from him. And, we just need to win tonight and come out real strong.
Very good point. Now, Kelly, I was talking to Coach Patton over this week, and he told me that Truman has a very unique way of running their offense. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, let me try and explain this as best I can. Basically, you play without a quarterback for the majority of the game. He will line up, but he will be lined up as a wide out or another receiver, kind of. He'll be lined up on the line of scrimmage or in the backfield somewhere, not necessarily underneath the center. It's also... they'll direct the snap directly to the halfback or the running back, who will basically run the ball or an occasional trick pass play. Then the ball will be directly snapped to the tailback and then lateral to the quarterback. So it's a very unique style, Sean, but it should be interesting to see how this works. I've really never seen it. I've heard plenty about it. I can tell you from a personal experience, my brother played on scout team as the tailback, and he was like, I had no idea. Okay. He said it was really a difficult thing to actually run as an offense. So in order for them to get this down right and as a working offense, they need to work hard. So it should be really interesting, and I think we're in for a pretty decent game.
Of course. Now, Kelly, like we said in that pregame, junior running back Zach Thomas was injured and did not dress last game. Now, I saw him down on the sideline, and I don't believe he was dressed again.
Yes, you are correct on that, Sean. He is not playing again. He is out with a back injury. It is still questionable. He's questionable basically day to day when he can come back. What happened in practice was he got tackled and twisted, basically.
Okay.
If you can picture it, Dave DeFusco, our athletic trainer, has been doing a wonderful job with these athletes, recuperating them and getting them back to full strength. We'll see how he does tonight and things like that. So it'll be, interesting.
Kelly, how about you run us through the season stats up to date so far?
All right. The rushing leaders, of course. Kevin Zeblin leading the way with 449 yards. Dan Brown not far behind. And Zach Thomas 3 yards behind Dan Brown, as you can see there. Basically, you look at that top four right there, and you see no problem giving the ball to any one of them. With the exception of Zach Thomas out tonight, I would have no problem giving the ball to any six of them, as a matter of fact, with the yards that they're putting up.
moving on to the receiving leaders, all thrown by Chris Brown.
Yeah, you're looking at all that, and, that's a lot of yards right there receiving. Kevin Zeblum, Mark Fisher doing an excellent job. Mark Fisher really stepping up as a senior, doing a wonderful job.
And the overall season-to-date points leaders for the North Penn Knights so far.
And, of course, Dan Brown, 11 touchdowns, 66 points. Can't expect much more than that. Kevin Zeblum, kicker Bobby Mancino, doing a great job. So, really, Sean, I feel very confident, as Coach Patton does, in giving the ball to any one of those with the, stats that they have thus far.
Kelly, yeah, despite the heartbreaking season so far, the stats do look very impressive, and North Penn just going to hopefully get some more add-ons onto those stats tonight against Truman.
Hopefully, let's see.
As number 90, Brian Ushler, will kick the ball off for the North Penn Knights. We're underway between the North Penn Knights and Truman Tigers, down to around the 15-yard line, where Truman will bring it back. Number 2, Hania Freeman, gets tackled by a swarm of North Penn defenders. They knock him down around the 25-yard line, where the North Penn defense will take the field. 1st and 10 for the Truman Tigers, with 11:54 left in the first quarter, just underway. Kelly, we'll see what Truman throws out there. Here you see the Truman offensive line.
Yes, the offensive line. Dan Crozier, Adam Hodnett, Scott Trenzy, Ken and Bob Paff, brothers on that right side. Let's see how they do. It should be interesting.
There you see that direct snap to the tailback, number 1, Trevor Smith. He'll take it around the right end, picking up a couple yards.
And Sean, with that offense that Truman is running where it gets snapped, as we see the offensive line again one more time, it's a very interesting offense because it's difficult, but yet it's not that bad. As we see a player down for North Penn, as we look at the backs and receivers, number 83, Tony Sassney, Hannah Freeman, Bill Stern, Craig Gansworth, Sean Legan, and Trevor Smith filling out the running back position.
Not quite sure who the injured Knight is down on the field.
This is not a good start, unfortunately, as Dave DeFusco already busy at work. It seems to be number 50, Dan Chang, which is not a good.
Thinking.
It's not a good sign right there. He does have that tender ankle.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick look at the North Penn defense. Number 85, Ryan Knowlton, defensive end. Number 50, Dan Chang, unfortunately injured. Hopefully be able to come back. Number 34, Kennell Smallwood. 57, Fran Mahan. And number 59, Pete McCormick, filling out that offensive line. Our secondary, you couldn't get much better than this. Larry Cannon, Mike Yeager, both seniors. Janusz Wojda, Brad Yakel, senior. Kyle Smith, senior. And Sean Brackington. The controversial call last week on him.
Of course.
Basically not really too much heard of from him, but did a good job last week and really played well. As number 50, Dan Chang limps off there.
On that previous play, we saw the Truman Tigers get called for a 10-yard holding penalty. It'll be 1st down and 15 for the Tigers. Yeah, we see Dan Chang limp off very gingerly on that left ankle.
It is tape, Sean, and that does provide some support. The athletic trainers are ready with ice there. Hopefully, North Penn can, pull this through without Dan, but he's going to be a key player, so we'll see how North Penn recuperates.
Truman comes out, direct snap. This one will be snapped right to the quarterback. North Penn not fooled, though. They'll take him down for a minimal gain, bringing up 2nd and about 13 inside an 11.5 minutes and left in the first quarter. The Truman Tigers will head back to their huddle. So this is going to be a very interesting night just to see how Truman runs their offense. We saw 2 plays already. One was a snap to the running back, and that one was a direct snap to the quarterback. So it could be a very interesting night here. As the Tigers break their huddle once again, we see number 14 and number 1, Trevor Smith, in the backfield. Whistle on the play. There are flags all around, possibly a full start on the offense. Just guessing around where the flags are. It'll be a full start on Truman. It'll knock him back 5 yards. It'll bring up a 2nd and 17 opportunity here for the Truman Tigers. Inside 11 minutes left in the first quarter. Score is still 0-0 if you're just joining us on this Truman first possession. The Truman Tigers will break their huddle. This time they'll send wide out to the right with two guys in the backfield. Shotgun snap back to quarterback number 16, Craig Gansworth. Long pass down the far sideline. Just in and out of the hands of the Truman receiver.
Nice coverage there by, I think it was number 40, Sean Brockington.
Yeah.
Am I right on that?
Yeah, that was Sean Brockington.
Nice job there. I mean, he's a sophomore stepping up. Last week you saw him step up very nicely for the injured Zach Thomas and just doing a great job. You know, he was a little intimidated by that personal foul that basically changed the game. Name thrown into the paper, and really, you know, he wasn't doing that well. I'm sorry, he's a junior. For some reason, I always think he's a sophomore, but he's a junior, and he's really done a great job.
3rd and 22 for the Truman Tigers. North Penn just playing hard on defense right now, and they haven't let Truman do anything. With 10:23 left in the first quarter, they'll line up in shotgun formation. Craig Gansworth. Drop back, handoff to number 1, Trevor Smith. North Penn not fooled. They're on top of him around the 15-yard line, so they don't give up any yardage on that first drive. It'll bring up a 4th and 22 here for the Truman Tigers with about 10 minutes left in the first quarter. Brad Yakel will be the punt return man for the North Penn Knights. Yakel will be back around his own 45. Truman will come out in punt formation. Number 19, Justin Werline, to punt the ball away. Doesn't get too much on the punt. The ball will come to a stop around the Truman Tigers 45-yard line. So great field position for the North Penn Knights. They'll be in the Truman side of the field in the early going. Kelly, couldn't ask for much better field position than this.
No, you couldn't. It's a really good start defensively for North Penn. That's what they needed, was a good, strong hold. And hopefully we can see Chris Brown in the offense start something. As I look to the sideline there, Sean, they seem to be working on the left ankle of Dan Chang. It looks as though they're kind of taping it tighter. I'm not sure whether he will be back in. We're trying to get some signal from our training assistants down there. But let's see how the offensive does. 1st
and 10 for the North Penn Knights. Chris Brown under center. Has a wideout out to his left. Janusz Wojda. Inside handoff to Kevin Zeblum, who goes right up the middle, picks up about 3 yards. It'll bring up a 2nd and 7 on that first carry by Kevin Zeblum. Score still 0-0 in the early going of the first quarter. Chris Brown will get the call from Coach Pettin and head back into the huddle. Brings up 2nd and about 8 for North Penn. Chris Brown will line up with 3 men in the backfield. Wide receiver Doug Servey split out, and they'll move in motion. Chris Brown still under center. Handoff to Kevin Zeblum. Zeblum cuts up the middle and comes up to around the 36-yard line. That'll bring a 3rd and 3rd.
And our offensive line for the night, Bob McNutt, Fran Mahan, actually Dan Chang, who will be replaced by Mike Dickel, Brian Grimson, and Ken Haberly finishing out the offensive line. As we look at the backs and the receivers, Mark Fisher, Doug Servey, Janusz Wojda, Chris Brown at QB, Larry Cannon fullback, and Kevin Zeblum running back. Also, we should note Dan Brown and Mike Yeager occasionally in there for a running back position or fullback position, doing a great job.
Chris Brown under center, inside handoff to Larry Cannon. Going forward, looks to pick up a 1st down here for the Knights. Right around the 34-yard line. And it appears like we're going to get a measure. No, we're not. That'll be a 1st down. It'll bring up a 1st and 10 here for the North Penn Knights. Inside 8 minutes left in this first quarter. The score is still 0-0 on this North Penn first possession. Chris Brown breaks his huddle. He'll come to the line with Larry Cannon and Kevin Zeblum in his backfield in power I formation. Chris Brown lines up. Handoff to Kevin Zeblum, who goes right through the middle. Picks up about 8 yards on the carry. Nice acceleration of speed there by Kevin Zeblum, getting through the hole. Picking up about 8 yards. Still in the first quarter, score still 0-0 if you're just joining us. Chris Brown lines up under center once again with Larry Cannon and Kevin Zeblum in the backfield. Hand off to Zeblum, who goes up the middle, picks up a first down and trips down around the 20. It'll be another first down for the North Penn Knights, so they're marching down the field.
And Sean, with 6:52 left in this first quarter, you see the Knights working the offense already, just pounding the ball down as much as they can, just keeping the ball in the middle of the field. I don't think they're going to show too many, their little secret weapons today, because you know what? Next week we've got to look forward to Central Bucks West visiting our Crawford Stadium here as you get ready to call this play.
Chris Brown under center with Dan Brown in the backfield. Handoff to Zeblum. Zeblum bounces outside and gets rocked by a Truman defender. Picks up a couple of yards. It'll bring up second and about 8.
And although Central Bucks West will be going for its 54th straight win tonight versus Pennsbury, I can guarantee you that somebody here is from Central Bucks West territory, or somebody, games will be traded tonight at that Pennsbury game. So don't expect too many weapons to be, shown tonight. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Chris Brown under center with Larry Cannon and Dan Brown in the backfield. Janusz Wojda goes in motion. Chris Brown has it on the quarterback keeper around the end. Gets around the end. Around the 12-yard line. Nice quarterback keeper around the end. It'll bring up a third and about 2 yards for the North Penn Knights. Inside 6 minutes left in the first quarter. There you see Chris Brown marching back out to the huddle for the Knights. Third and 1 for the Knights. Chris Brown under center with Janusz Wojda and Dan Brown behind him. Chris Brown gives the handoff to Dan Brown, who gets met at the line of scrimmage and knocked backwards. They didn't pick up the first down there. It'll bring up fourth and about 2. Inside 5 minutes left. Kind of interested to see what Coach Pettin decides to do here. Does he send the kicking team out, or do they go for the first down? North Penn calls their first timeout, so possibly Coach Pettin's going to think about this one. The North Penn Knights have the ball around the Truman 14. Not quite sure what kind of a leg Bobby Mancino has on him, but Kelly, do you think you could kick it this far if you would come in?
I think so. I mean, that's pretty much in extra point range, and they work, the way you build that up is you move the line back more when you're practicing. So I believe he can make it. I think Coach Patton wants the 6, though, and I think that's what he's going to do right now. Hopefully, it's a few yards right there, and hopefully, he's just got to get that line. The offensive line looks real good. I think they can get out a little bit faster, a little more explosive. They seem a little flat tonight, but hopefully they'll pick it up and get into this game.
Inside 5 minutes left in the first quarter, we see a 4th and 3 situation for the North Penn Knights, causing Coach Pettin to have a very crucial decision in the early going. While we remain in the North Penn timeout, there you see the Truman sideline. As North Penn goes back out onto the field. Chris Brown under center. Motion on the play. Chris Brown. Handoff to Kevin Zeblum around the end. Kevin Zeblum goes in for a touchdown. North Penn goes up 6-0 with the Kevin Zeblum carry around the end. 14-yard touchdown for the North Penn Knights. Nice carry there by Kevin Zeblum.
That was a great touchdown by Kevin Zeblum. That just shows his skill and his, what he knows about football and how to run.
6-0 the score. As we see number 91, Bobby Mancino, come out onto the field. We'll see another timeout called by North Penn. So North Penn down 2 timeouts here in the early going. The score 6-0. With 4 minutes and 39 seconds left in the first quarter, Bobby Mancino will go out onto the field. Little confusion out there right now. Not quite sure. North Penn was issued a timeout, but apparently Coach Pettin didn't want a timeout, so I'm kind of interested to see what goes on here. Nonetheless, Dane Mangel-Spurio will put the placement down for a Bobby Mancino extra point. Up and good. It'll make the score 7-0.
And you know, Sean, you look at those type of scenarios as we see this play again. Coach Pettin, he knew he only needed 2 yards. He gave that ball to Kevin Zeblum, knew where it'd be confidence, knew where, you could see, he wanted that touchdown. He wanted not just the 2 yards, but he wanted the extra 10 to get into that touchdown. So it was a nice job there by Coach Pettin.
The score is 7-0 with 4 minutes and 39 seconds left in the first quarter. North Penn the first to strike. As the special teams head out onto the field, number 90, Brian Ushler, will be kicking the ball off for the North Penn Knights. The Truman Tigers will take the field, and we'll see number 2, Hania Freeman, and number 44, Sean Lenigan, the deep backs for the Truman Tigers.
And here comes, I guess I can't say my favorite kicker, but the kicker, Brian Ushler, to kick the ball.
Brian Ushler to kick it from his own 40. Long kick down inside the 20. Truman will take it from there, bringing it back the opposite direction, and he's knocked down around the 25-yard line. North Penn special teams comes up big once again. So Truman will try to get something started on offense for the second straight time. With 4:34 left in the first quarter, North Penn out to the lead 7-0 and a Kevin Zeblum 14-yard touchdown scamper. First and 10 for the Truman Tigers. The Tigers line up. Snap back to number 1, Trevor Smith. He'll run inside and he'll get knocked down for about a 3-yard pickup. To bring up a 2nd and 6 for the Tigers. Number 16, Craig Gansworth, the quarterback for the Truman Tigers, lines up in the backfield this time. Shotgun formation for Gansworth. Direct snap to the fullback, 44, Sean Lenigan. He'll try to get outside, and he'll get brought down right around the line of scrimmage. Doesn't pick up too much. Maybe a yard or so. It'll be 3rd and 3.
Now, Sean, I don't know about you, but the Truman offense kind of baffles me. You never quite know where it's going. So exactly. I can understand why it's difficult to play defense versus this. But it's mostly important for the linebackers and safeties because basically the line – its main goal is to get to the ball and basically get to the quarterback. With this offense, you totally eliminate the quarterback.
Right. So
it's difficult to even judge, who you're going to more emphasize. Are you going to go stronger up front, as you see Truman there run for the first down? Or are you going to, back it up a little bit and, emphasize more of your secondary? It just all depends on, what Coach Pettin's game plan is to, basically defend this offense.
On that draw play to Trevor Smith, Truman picks up another first down. It'll be 1st and 10 around the Truman 40. Inside 3 minutes left here in the opening quarter. North Penn off to a 7-0 lead. Truman lines up. Direct snap back to fullback number 44, Sean Lenigan, who gets brought down behind the line of scrimmage.
And there you go, right there. Running for the line, as you saw, Sean Lenigan, the line was there. But then again, if they ran a draw play where you run to the outside, where's the line?
Right.
It's really the line is just, it depends on what kind of play, how, much emphasis you're going to put on your defensive line. So it's a difficult game to play. Right. I mean, it always is, but especially now when you add this different element into it.
2nd and about 10 for the Tigers. Truman lines up. This one will be a snap back to Craig Gansworth. Pass out into the flat. Number 1, Trevor Smith. Hurdling North Penn defenders will get knocked out around the 48-yard line. Kelly, like you were saying, North Penn now, whereas the usual defensive situation you react on the ball, now you almost have to just sit back and look where the ball goes before you can react to it.
Yeah, and of course, as you see, the holding call on Truman will bring the ball back. But of course, you're always focusing on who's going to get the ball and where you want it, whether you're in zone or man,
right.
You need to always focus on what's happening and things like that. You have to be aware of so many different scenarios. But this, it's just like you don't have time. The quarterback's not overseeing things. And I would think that that's kind of a disadvantage because the quarterback always makes sure that you're set. And he has to know every position on every play, on every personnel. So, it just all depends on, how you look at this. So
it'll bring up a 3rd and 15 for the Truman Tigers. A 2nd and 15, for the Tigers with 2:04 left in the first quarter. As the Truman Tigers get in their huddle, number 16, Craig Gansworth, gives his players the play. From the Truman 35, Gansworth back in shotgun formation. Trevor Smith in motion. Ball off Gansworth's foot on the ground. Not quite sure who picked it up. I believe it bounced right into the Truman's arm.
That was basically center's fault. Just did not get the long snap. But that's a definitely difficult technique to get down is long snapping as Truman recovers the ball. Long snapping is an art. Not many people just think you kind of throw it under your legs. It's really an art, and I never knew this. There's a different way to hold the ball and different momentum, and it actually, you can make the NFL for long snapping. Sean, I think you should look into it. Definitely. I'm telling you, if broadcasting doesn't work out, work on the long snapping. You know what I'm saying?
3rd and 15 for the Truman Tigers. Inside a minute. Fake reverse. Truman still has it. Fran Mahan right on the quarterback. Nice shot there by Fran Mahan.
I don't know about you, Sean, but I saw Fran Mahan, and I could almost feel the intent. I felt scared. I almost screamed for the quarterback. He just, that's the thing with Fran Mahan. He's started all 3 years pretty much, gotten a lot of playing time, and he knows the intensity, and he went at that with full force, and that's just what you need.
He got Craig Gansworth blindsided and just rocked him to the ground. With 51 seconds left here in the first quarter, 4th and 15, the Tigers will have to punt the ball away. Justin Werline, the punter for the Tigers. Line drive punt down to Brad Yakel. Down inside the 30. Nice play there by Brad Yakel just to get out of the way. It'll be inside the 30 with 42 seconds left in the first quarter.
And that's a really conservative play right there by Coach Patton, not picking up that ball, and by Brad Yakel. If you pick up that ball and you bobble it, Truman's right there to pounce on it. So, that's a tough call. You're in a difficult field position starting at about the 29-yard line. It's a difficult, choice that you have to make, but you know what? You don't want Truman to have the ball with that field position. So we'll take it.
1st and 10 for the North Penn Knights. Chris Brown under center with Kevin Zeblin wide out right. Janusz Wojda in the backfield. Play action pass. Chris Brown looking down the field. Unloads to Kevin Zeblin. And it goes out of bounds. It'll bring up 2nd and 10 on that incomplete pass.
I don't know about you, Sean, but that was launched. That was an absolute bomb. Looked beautiful.
Yes, it did.
Unfortunately, a little too overthrown, but Chris Brown has an amazing arm. And you don't see that much in high school ball, especially with, the level of play and things like that. But Chris Brown looking like a veteran out there throwing that ball. Looking very impressive.
Yes, he is. Chris Brown under center. We'll see motion on the play. Kevin Zeblin comes to the backfield. Hand off to Kevin Zeblin. He eludes one tackler, and he's off. Kevin Zeblin accelerates around the 40. Kevin Zeblin's going to break this one for a touchdown. Kevin Zeblin with his 2nd touchdown of the game. That one will go for 71 yards. make the score 13-0. North Penn Knights on top.
Okay, so if you're Chris Brown and you just threw the long bomb and it's incomplete, then you know what you do? The next best thing is give the ball to a running back like Kevin Zeblum, and he'll just run it down. I mean, if it doesn't work in the air, send it on the ground. Nice job. I don't know what more you can say than that. I think the highlight reel will show that one, definitely with 23 seconds left in the first quarter here. I mean, North Penn's up now 13-0, hoping making this 14-0 on this extra point.
Bobby Mancino for the extra point. Ball on the ground. Dane Mangelsperio picks it up. He'll try to get around the outside and get knocked out of bounds. Bad snap there by the center. Dane Mangelsperio picked it up off the ground, and the only thing he could really do was run with the ball. So with 22 seconds left there, you'll see once again Kevin Zeblum just breaking a 71-yard rush for pay dirt the other direction. It'll make the score 13-0. North Penn on top with 22 seconds left in the first quarter.
That just shows the kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is right now, but the flexibility. There we go. Flexibility North Penn offense has, especially in their extra point zone. Bad snap, Dane Mangelsperio, receivers, you yell go or something, and receivers go out to catch the ball. So hopefully, although that failed, one day it'll work for them. So nice job there.
Very surprised with Kevin Zeblum. It seems every week he seems to amaze me a little bit more, and to think he's only a junior, he'll be back next year just to wow these fans a little bit more.
I agree. Sean's looking at me like, you have any other but no, I do agree, and that's definitely, to think that Kevin Zeblum basically had to play last year as a sophomore, basically behind, Heike Johnson, and to step into that position, step into the jersey of number 2 is an amazing accomplishment to be what he is. But you know what? You wouldn't get anywhere without, some of these guys out there. And as you saw, even Mark Fisher throwing the amazing downfield block, got in perfect position, totally shocked the free safety. I mean, I don't even think he saw Mark Fisher.
I don't think so.
Many people don't see that block or whatever thrown, but just did an excellent job out there.
Very good point. Most likely on those long runs, wide receivers don't really get the recognition they deserve, but he made that play because if he doesn't lay out that block, he's tackled.
Exactly. And, there's a lot of controversial calls, especially with that. Clipping and things is such a difficult thing to avoid. You hit him in the back, and that's a clip.
Right.
So you need to get in the right position so they don't turn or do something that you don't expect. I mean, it's a difficult, thing to do. Blocking in itself is a technique. There you go, Sean. Another technique you can perfect, okay? And join the NFL if this doesn't work out. No. But seriously, I mean, blocking is just something that isn't really thought of. I mean, as you look at Larry Cannon, fullback, all he basically does is block and block and block and block. And if you don't, if when you get the ball, it's a big deal, but it's a once in a while thing. Right. And that's often overlooked, as you see other things and things like that. You don't see the blockers as much, just like the offensive line.
Of course. After one quarter of play, the North Penn Knights lead the Truman Tigers 13-0. Kelly, what more can we say about that first half? 2 nice touchdown runs by Kevin Zeblum.
First quarter looked good. Defense came out strong, held them to what we saw the punter 3 times for Truman. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, that's for Truman, and hopefully, they will be able to pick it up again. The North Penn defense looks great. Came out in the right momentum, right state of mind, and you got to remember, Sean, Truman received the ball, if I'm correct.
That's true.
So, I mean, North Penn's really in a good position right now. They just need to keep up their offense. I think Coach Penn will be very happy going into this locker room with 12 minutes left to play if, he got a few more scores on there. Of course. So, I think defense is looking for a shutout definitely tonight.
13-0 your score right now. It'll be 2nd and 3 for the Truman Tigers. Last week we mentioned Truman lost to CB West 49-0. It would be great for North Penn to beat Truman a little bit more than that to try to prove themselves over CB West next week. Trevor Smith goes up the middle. He'll get tackled for a bit of a loss. It'll bring up a 3rd and 3 situation for the Truman Tigers. Score 13-0 with about 11 and a half minutes left here in the second quarter. Kelly, yeah, like you said, the North Bend defense has looked really strong. They've only given up 2 first downs in the first quarter.
Hopefully, with third and about 3 to go, hopefully they'll be able to keep that number.
Direct snap back to number 44, the fullback, Sean Lenigan. There are flags on the play. They didn't get the first down, and judging by the flag, it's going to be a false start. It'll be knocked back 5 yards. Score 13-0 with 11:17 left in the second quarter. There you see the replay of that last play. North Penn in their huddle right now.
It'll be about fourth and about 3.
North Penn chooses to decline the penalty. It'll bring up a 4th and 2. Kelly, I'm not really sure the rules with high school football. I was waiting for them to just mark off the 5 yards, but apparently the defense has a choice whether to choose the full start.
Yeah, you can choose to decline, which means you just play from the spot. You redo the play basically, but go up and down. Basically, because it was third down, they're redoing it there. Or you can choose to knock the ball back 5 yards, but I mean that means they get to redo third down.
Right.
So it just depends on the field position.
It'll bring up a 4th and 1 for the Truman Tigers with 11:06 left in the second quarter. Still a little bit of confusion out on the play. Now I would have thought with the full start penalty, they let the play run out, and the play should have been blown dead right off the start.
Yeah,
that's what I was talking about. But I don't think North Penn would even have the option to decline this penalty.
No, that's why I was a little confused.
Right.
But well, we're starting the clock, and it'll be 4th and 3. So I don't know whether that was our comprehension error or.
Yeah. Nonetheless, the score still 13-0 North Penn.
Back to the game.
Still in the lead. We're going to see the Truman Tigers going for it on 4th down. North Penn going to have to stand up on defense. Draw play to number 1, Trevor Smith. Getting right around the first down marker, and the spot of the ball will most likely give Truman a first down. First down, Truman Tigers. First and 10 for the Tigers at their own 37. Inside 10.5 minutes left in the first half. Snap back to the fullback, number 44, Sean Lenigan. He'll get tackled out of bounds for a minimal pickup. Along the far sideline, that was number 40, Sean Brockington, and number 15, Larry Cannon on the tackle. Bringing up a 2nd and 9 situation for the Tigers. Inside 10 minutes left in the second quarter. As we see number 99, Fred Vrahman, come in the game for number 34, Cannell Smallwood. Truman will come out. Trevor Smith goes in motion once again. Fake the draw play, pass out in the flat to number 2, Hania Freeman, who gets up about a yard short of the first down marker. However, there are 2 flags on the field. Now I'm judging most likely one will be a holding call. The flag will go against Truman, so cancel that yardage. It'll be called an illegal block against the Truman Tigers.
Yeah, I think what happened in that play, I'm not really sure, is I think the Truman Tigers tried to block somebody on the ground, which basically
obviously
he's
illegal.
On the ground, and it once you get up and are on your feet again, you're allowed to block them. But once they're down, basically, and are basically no threat to the play, I don't think you can go in and hit them. I think that might be it. Don't quote me on that, Sean, even though I just went on, North Penn Television saying that. But, I'm taking my best educated guess here.
2nd and 13 for the Tigers. Direct snap back to quarterback number 16, Craig Gansworth, firing. Just overthrows his receiver. Great double coverage there by Brad Yakel.
Sean, you took the words out of my mouth. I mean, great coverage right there. Unfortunately, neither one of them could come. All three of them couldn't come down with the ball, but, Kyle Smith and Brad Yakel were right on it. So, and I have to admit, was it number 1 that threw the ball, Trevor Smith?
It was the quarterback, Craig Gansworth, who threw the quarterback.
He got crushed again.
He
and I think it was number 57. Fran Mahan just has it out for this quarterback. So we only can hope that he gets a sack tonight because he is trying his hardest. I can tell you. I mean, I don't think our cameras were on it anymore, but wow. My eyes and the sounds were.
3rd and 13, handoff to Trevor Smith around the left side. North Penn pursuing. Trevor Smith picks up about 5 yards on the carry, so it'll bring up another Truman 4th down. It'll bring up 4th and about 7 for the Tigers. Brad Yakel will go back to return the punt. With 8:30 left here in the first half, North Penn still leads 13-0 with 2 Kevin Zeblum touchdown runs. Number 19, Justin Werline, will punt the ball away for the Tigers. Snap back. Werline with a high punt. Doesn't get too much distance on it. Bouncing down inside the 35. And Truman will down it around the 33-yard line where North Penn will take over. Number 3, Chris Brown, will head back out onto the field for the Knights. This will be North Penn's 3rd offensive possession of the game. 8:05 left here in the opening half. North Penn leads 13-0. North Penn will send Janusz Wojda and number 84, Mark Fisher, out to Chris Brown's left. Chris Brown will lined up. Play action pass. Brown look into the side. Throws it to Dan Brown in the flat, who picks up about 8 yards.
I think that was Mike Yeager.
That was Mike Yeager. I'm sorry.
It's all right. 1 number off. 2, 3. They're close. They're close. I mean, they're as close as you can get on the football. No. But, they ran that play last week, Sean. I believe you saw. And, Mike Yeager, he really has not carried the ball much. He's carried definitely the defense. As you can see, he's defensive captain, co-captain. Oh, and as we can see, I believe that's number 50 out there. Am I correct? Dan Chang out there at center? Yes, I do believe it is Dan Chang. I've been looking for him, but I think he's got the go-ahead to go back out.
Mike Yeager picks up the first down, reverse to Kevin Zeblum. He picks up a couple of yards.
But as I was saying, Mike Yeager, you really just didn't expect him to be a receiver. Right. And I don't think Truman nor Central Bucks East expected him to be. So, great play calling there by Coach Patton. Hey, throw one of our defensive guys out there who has knowledge of the fullback position. Good move there.
2nd and 6 for the North Penn Knights.
And yes, that is number 50, Dan Chang, back out there.
Chris Brown under center once again with Kevin Zeblum in his backfield. Handoff to Zeblum. Goes inside. Kevin Zeblum breaks it once again. Up to about the 30-yard line. Great pickup on the carry for 23 yards. Kevin Zeblum just racking up the rushing yards here.
Nice job there by the whole Kevin Zeblum and entourage of backers and things.
Great hold caused by the North Penn offensive line, and Kevin Zeblum just accelerated right through it and picked up 22 yards. 1st and 10 for the Knights. Around the Truman 30. Chris Brown under center. Handoff to Zeblum once again. He'll cut through the middle accelerates, trips up a little bit, but still gets to about the 15-yard line. Nice 10-yard pickup gives North Penn yet another first down. 1st and 10 for the Knights as Kevin Zeblum will come out. Little breather for Zeblum. 1st and 10 at the Truman 15. 13-0 your score with about 6 minutes left here in the first half. Chris Brown under center with 3 running backs in his backfield. Brown with the reverse handoff to number 20. Janusz Vojta cuts it up down inside the 5-yard line, about the 3. Janusz Vojta picking up a 12-yard carry.
You know, Sean, North Penn has such a versatile assortment of guys. I mean, you can go to Chris Brown to Dan Brown. You can go Chris Brown to Mark Fisher. You can go Chris Brown to basically anywhere. I mean,
very good point.
You basically, if I were Truman defense, I would not know where it is going. And that's the thing that hurt last week was with Zach Thomas out, it was either, Kevin Zeblum or, Kevin Zeblum and Kevin Zeblum. I mean, you didn't have that versatility. I mean, of course you always do with the other backers, but
touchdown there by Dan Brown. Picks up another 6 points. It'll make the score 19-0 on that 2-yard touchdown run. As we'll see a Truman Tiger defenseman down on the field. With 5:17 left in the second quarter, Dan Brown picks up that 2-yard touchdown run.
There's another versatile play right there, Dan Brown. I mean, you never know where it's going.
Truman has their offense. We have our offense.
Basically, 2 different. I mean, you are seeing different football here tonight. I mean, just in the way that they call, in the way that they play. It's just truly amazing as they go for the 2-point conversion here.
Chris Brown lines up with 5 wideouts in shotgun formation. Chris Brown fires over the middle, tipped at the line. Kevin Zeblum, although still made an acrobatic attempt and tried to come down with it. Incomplete pass. North Penn will be up 19-0 with 5:17 left in the first half. There you see that Dan Brown touchdown run from 2 yards out. 19-0 your score. North Penn Knights lead the Truman Tigers. Kelly, do you think when we come out in the second half, we're going to see Coach Penton putting in some of his backups to give him a little bit of an experience factor?
I'm not really sure what we're going to see. I don't know whether Coach Penton will take this not as a practice, of course, but we do have big game coming up next week, Central Bucks West, and always a big game. And so I don't know whether he'll want to give experience or whether he'll want to go with, give them a little bit more momentum, give them a little more. Let's work on this, which we haven't been so good at, underneath the lights on a Friday night. I mean, it just all really depends.
There you see Coach Penton right now. Right before the Brian Ushler kickoff. Special teams has looked great for North Penn all season. Brian Ushler to kick it off from his own 40-yard line. With another long kick down to about the 12-yard line, number 44, Sean Lenigan will take it for the Tigers. He'll cut out to his left sideline and get met by the North Penn special teams, taken down around the 23-yard line. With 5:08 left in the first half, North Penn leads 19-0 with 2 touchdowns runs by Kevin Zeblum and 1 by Dan Brown. 1st and 10, Truman Tigers. The Tigers will break their huddle. They'll line up in what appears to be shotgun formation. Quick handoff to number 1, Trevor Smith, who's met by the North Penn defenders, and they knock him down for a good 5-yard loss.
Nice job there by number 85, Ryan Knowlton. Framingham, we're still pulling for him to get that sack. I'm telling you, Sean, that intensity, I'm feeling it up here in the booth. I mean, that was a great defensive line, just rush, nice, basically blitz action. I mean, there's not much to blitz because
they don't pass that off.
Right, and it's not really going to the quarterback all the time.
Exactly.
So, it's difficult to even call your defense.
2nd and 14 here for the Tigers. Craig Gansworth lines up in shotgun formation. Here we've got a pass. Gansworth rolling around to his right, unloads over the middle. Nice defensive play there by number 13, Brad Yakel. That was Kyle Smith on the strong defensive play there for the Knights. Once again, off one number, 12-13.
We're working on the 2s and 3s here, Sean. That's all right. That's why you have me.
Okay.
To point it out and go, it's number 2.
3rd and 14 for the Truman Tigers.
Now, Sean, you might just lose your job if you get Kevin Zeblum and Chris Brown mixed up, number 2.
I don't think I'll mix them up.
No, I'm just kidding with you. But nice play. I mean, Kyle Smith, great safety out there. Brad Yakel, nice job. I mean, they're just having excellent pass coverage games tonight.
Craig Gansworth gets loose. He's coming down. Brought down there by a swarm of North Penn defenders. Mike Yeager, Janusz Wojda, and Mark Messerschmidt all there to get the tackle. It'll bring up 4th and about 10 for the Tigers.
Is this 5 now, Sean? 5 times we've seen the punter?
I believe this is the 5th time we've seen the Truman Tiger punter.
And I don't believe Brad Yakel has caught one.
No, he hasn't. They've all been long line drive punts that he hasn't really had a chance to.
And that's very frustrating for a punt returner, and for a punter almost. I mean, you're out there as the last line of defense, so hopefully he'll get one off now.
Justin Werline to attempt another punt. That one will come down to Brad Yakel.
Did he touch it?
I don't believe he touched it. He didn't make too much of an effort to go chase the ball. Nonetheless, it does go out of bounds, so either way, it doesn't really matter, but it'll be inside the North Penn 40. So far, that's the best punt we've seen from the Truman Tiger punter, number 19, Justin Werline. With 3:19 left here in the second quarter, North Penn leads 19-0 from their own 39-yard line. Chris Brown lines up with John Haloti in the backfield. They'll go in motion. Chris Brown back to shotgun formation. Pass out to his flanker, number 2, Kevin Zeblum, and the ball just gets knocked down. Second and 10 here for the North Penn Knights as Chris Brown will head out to the huddle again.
And now, Sean, with 3:15 left in this half, I mean, Coach Patton's feeling pretty confident. He'd like to get the ball in the end zone, though, again.
Chris Brown lines up with 3 running backs in the backfield. Larry Cannon goes in motion. Inside handoff to Janusz Wojda, who goes through the middle. Janusz Wojda breaks it. He's going to accelerate. Truman catches him and knocks him down around the 3-yard line. Nice rush there by Janusz Wojda. Picking up about 60 yards on the carry. However, you have to admire Truman's speed and effort to actually get back there and break that one up. There you see Janusz Wojda just break through the middle, and the Truman Tigers defender just runs him down. Number 2, Hania Freeman.
Nice execution, nice explosion by Janusz Wojda. Versatile running backs, and that's the name of North Penn's game, so it looks good.
Chris Brown with a 1st and goal here. Inside handoff to Dan Brown. He's in for a North Penn touchdown. Put 6 more points up on the board. That's Dan Brown's 2nd touchdown of the night, 12th of his senior season for the Knights. Make the score 25-0 North Penn with 2:39 left here in the second quarter. Kelly, great drive put together there by North Penn.
Yeah, really good drive. Just, basically pounced the ball down the field, saw a little different plays. But, basically run the ball.
Right.
And that, it looks good.
Ball down and up. Bobby Mancino gets another extra point up on the board. Make the score 26-0. North Penn Knights lead. Couldn't ask for a better first half than this. With 2:39 left in the opening half, Coach Patton has to be very pleased with his team. As the teams will meet in their special teams huddles, the score is 26-0.
And Sean, where we have a minute, I have been asked to announce that tomorrow night will be a benefit concert. Max Meyer, Tony Barber from Pembroke will be playing. It'll all go towards the 12th night and the football team. Tickets are $5 and can be bought at the door. It should be an excellent time. So, Sean, if you want, come out now. Anybody who's interested, please come out. It should be a great event, great benefit, and a great time.
Number 90, Brian Ushler, to kick the ball off for the North Penn Knights. From his own 40. Brian Ushler with a little bit of a squib kick there down to number 19, who trips. That's number 19 punter Justin Werline out on the field. The Truman Tigers will have possession from their own 30-yard line with 2:35 left here in the first half. North Penn still your leader, 26-0 with 2 touchdowns by Zeblub and Brown. The Truman Tigers to try to get something started on the offensive side of the ball. The Tigers will break their huddle. What formation will we see this time?
What do you call that? We got a guy almost in motion. Wow.
Direct snap to number 1, Trevor Smith, who gets brought down for a 1-yard loss. So why we sit up here confused, the North Penn defense just continues to amaze us with how they can read this offense so well. Bringing up 2nd and 10 for the Truman Tigers. We have an official timeout there called.
I don't know whether it's an injury, an equipment problem.
Might.
Because he's not going
Right.
down, but he's not.
It's number 59.
He was the guy, Sean, if you remember, in the backfield who went in motion.
Okay.
And I think what the plan was him to block, but he ended up blocking his own guy. So I'm not really sure. This offense confuses me. I have to be honest with you.
With you there, Kelly.
Is he coming? He's
staying on the sideline. Believe it was equipment problems because
Yeah.
he was messing with his helmet as he was walking off the side. But it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Truman Tigers. The score 26-0 and the North Penn Knights lead. Direct snap back to number 1, Trevor Smith. Smith around the left end. Looking for some running room, brought down by number 15, Larry Cannon. As we see number 23, Dan Brown, come on the field for this 3rd down. Larry Cannon will come out. It'll be 3rd and 4 for the Tigers. Under 2 minutes left here in the second quarter. Truman lines up from their own 37. Not quite sure what just happened there. The refs are signaling it's a North Penn football. Apparently there was a fumble right down on the line of scrimmage. North Penn picks it up for the first turnover of the game.
Looks to be number 53, Mark Messerschmidt, with the recovery. I didn't really see the ball hiked, but Mark Messerschmidt is right over the center. So maybe, I don't know, Sean. You know, I'm clueless. Usually I don't get clueless to like the 4th quarter, but right now it's just with a minute 26 left, I'm just lost.
The score 26-0. North Penn will have the ball from their own, or from the Truman 38-yard line. Shotgun snap back to Chris Brown. He's looking to throw. Goes inside and almost picked off there by the Truman safety. Overthrows his receiver, number 2, Kevin Zeblum. Incomplete pass. It'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the North Penn Knights.
You know, Sean, we need to comment as we take a look at this play again. The weather out here is extremely nice.
Yes, it is.
I mean, we're talking, it's a little fallish, a little cool, but I mean, we're getting lucky.
Yeah,
Knock on wood somewhere.
Right.
But I mean, you know,
right.
It's beautiful out here tonight, which is, you know, we're showing by 26-0. North
Right.
Penn's really loving it too.
1 minute and 20 left here. Chris Brown finds number 22, Mike Yeager, out in the flat, who gets up over the first down marker, so it'll bring up a 1st and 10 for the North Penn Knights. Great play there by Chris Brown, just sitting back in the pocket, knowing he's going to take a hit, and he finds his fullback, Mike Yeager. 1st and 10 for the Knights. Chris Brown just downs the ball to kill the clock with 1:05 left here in the opening half. It'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Knights.
Another nice job there by number 22, Mike Yeager, as he goes out. Nice job done. I mean, he just really did that well and executed that run again well. He's another receiver that you don't expect, and you know you expect him to go out there and just block. And when you give the ball to him, you get results, which is a nice job.
Gotta like to see Coach Patton just giving the ball to Chris Brown, letting him run the 2-minute offense here. 2nd and 10, Chris Brown in shotgun formation with 4 wide receivers out to his left and 1 out to his right. Brown lofts it up inside to Zeblum, and it gets tipped off his fingertips. A little bit overthrown there by number 3, Chris Brown. It'll bring up 3rd and 10 with exactly a minute left here in the second quarter. So North Penn just going to try to focus on getting a 1st down here to keep the drive intact. 26-0 your score with 2 touchdowns by number 2, Kevin Zeblum, and 2 touchdowns by number 23, Dan Brown. That's where we stand with a score of 26-0. 3rd and 10, Chris Brown will line up once again in shotgun formation. He'll have 3 wideouts out to his left. Chris Brown rolls out to his left, looking to throw. Chris Brown steps up, throws it to number 20, Janis Vojta. Incomplete pass, but there are flags down on the field. There will be a holding call called against the North Penn Knights. I would guess that Truman will decline it, but it looks like I'm going to be wrong.
It's all right, Sean. You win some, you lose some here.
It'll be knocked back 10 yards, so make it a 3rd and 20 here for the North Penn Knights.
Now, if they would have accepted that, it would have been 4th and 10. Which would have been... Then again, it is 3rd and 20.
Right.
So...
Inside a minute left here in the second quarter. That's one of those calls that could go either way. You decline it, you might get the ball back. However, now you just knock North Penn back a little bit. 3rd and 25 inside. Play action pass. Pass intended there to Mark Fisher. Incomplete.
Yeah, he got pulled back there, and I think it hampered his release. I think that's kind of why I went a little flying wild. But, you know, nice job there. It's all right.
4th and 25 here for the North Penn Knights. Look for them to punt it away as they send number 23, Dan Brown, out to punt the ball.
Here's someone versatile. Dan Brown, punter, linebacker, fullback, / running back, occasional receiver.
Dan Brown does it all. Standing at his own 45-yard line to punt the ball away to the Truman Tigers. The punt is off. It's a high punt down inside the 20 where the Truman Tiger player will call the fair catch.
And we should note, while we've seen the Truman punter 5 times, we've seen Dan Brown. That's the first time we've seen him in the punt formation, we should say. While he does have 2 touchdowns, I believe.
Yes, 2 touchdowns for
2
Dan
touchdowns.
Brown.
I mean, you know, can't ask for much more than that.
Can't. with 40 seconds left here in the second quarter. 1st and 10 for the Truman Tigers. Now this could get very interesting for the Truman offense. You'd imagine that they'd have to come out passing here, but then you never know. Direct snap back to number 44. Sean Lenigan picks up a couple yards.
I have to tell you, Sean, that man in motion, he really baffles me because he's always like switching and turning.
Right.
And I'm so glad I'm not out on that field tonight. I mean,
2nd and 6 for the Truman Tigers as quarterback Craig Gansworth.
and as you can see, the North Penn, well, actually you can't see now on the screen, but the North Penn secondary is way back, and that's just anticipating the pass. So, hopefully they're anticipating that right.
Truman will not get another play off. That's going to do it for the first half. A great showing by North Penn with 2 touchdowns by Kevin Zeblum and 2 touchdowns by Dan Brown. That gives us a 26-0 lead for the Knights. Kelly, what do you have to say about that first half?
Great defensively, great offensively. Can't wait till the second half, basically.
North Penn looked very impressive. They only had to punt the ball away once, and they'll take this one to half. 26-0. Make sure you come back for the second half. However, before we leave you, we'll give you the little bit of North Penn Knights trivia. There you see the question. Who was the first ever 1,000-yard rusher in North Penn Knights history? We'll have the answer to that and the second half action between the North Penn Knights and Truman Tigers right after the break.
Gee, Vince, what kind of dummy wouldn't know how to use a child safety seat?
Beats me, lads. Child's play.
You just buckle him in.
Unless he's over 20 pounds.
Then this one's good.
Except if he's over 40 pounds.
Then you're into this kind of rig.
What if he outgrows that?
Put him in a booster seat?
What if he's too big for a booster seat?
Would he use the safety belt?
The Auto Safety Hotline can tell you everything you need to know about keeping your child safe in a car.
I'm a wreck.
Totaled.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Call 1-800-424-9393.
Hello and welcome back to the North Penn Knights and Truman Tigers football game, just about to get underway here in the second half. The North Penn Knights lead 26-0. Now, Kelly, right before we left the viewers at home, we gave them a trivia question.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Go over the trivia question?
Oh, well, they just gave the answer. Okay, that's no fun. But in 1990, it was our very own Knights running back Jim Williams became the first ever 1,000-yard rusher for the Knights. And Coach Williams, you can find him down on the sideline coaching our very own Kevin Zeblum, Dan Brown, Zach Thomas, basically our whole running back. Looking great out there. I have to tell you, Sean, I guessed Jeff Yakel, brother of number 13, Brad Yakel. Right. And you laughed at me.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding with you. But Jimmy Williams, I mean, he's really come up through the program and now is coaching. And, he was the first one. So
right.
Congratulations to him about 10 years ago. So as we begin the second half, I'm pretty excited.
26-0 your score as we're just about ready to get underway here in the second half. Brad Yakel, the lone deep man for the North Penn Knights. Kevin Zeblin and Mark Fisher stand at their 25-yard line. The Truman Tigers to kick it off from their 40. A high kickoff dropping down to Kevin Zeblin. Will take it around his 30. Kevin Zeblin looking for some running room. Gets knocked down around the 35-yard line. North Penn will start it off around their own 35-yard line. And it looks like we're going to see the starters remain in the game. Chris Brown talking to Coach Patton. Despite the 26-0 score, it looks like Coach Patton just wants to give his team that added playing time for next week's big game. 1st and 10 here for the North Penn Knights on the opening drive for the second half. Chris Brown lines up under center with Kevin Zeblum and Mark Fisher lined out to his left and right. Brown looks back to pass, fires it over to number 84, Mark Fisher. Apparently Bad communication there between Chris Brown and Mark Fisher. Chris Brown was looking for a stop and go, and Mark Fisher just kept going.
He didn't stop.
2nd and 10 coming up here for the Knights.
Yeah, that stop and go can be a problem when you just go. But hopefully Knights will rebound here. It's
2nd and 10 for the Knights. Chris Brown under center with 2 wideouts once again. Kevin Zeblum in the backfield. Play action pass. Looking over the middle. Fires just over the head of number 84, Mark Fisher. Almost picked off there by Trevor Smith. It'll bring up a 3rd and 10, so we've seen North Penn come out here in the second half with 2 early throws, both resulting in incomplete passes.
Yeah, I think that's just a confidence builder right there in your receivers. Coming into next week's game, you need the confidence of your receiver because you're going to have to open up your offense versus Central Bucks West. And, I mean, what better way to do that than throwing? I mean, that's, North Penn, Coach Patton got criticized last year for not opening it up, for being more conservative. Now I guess he's just trying to show the scouts that are here, that we will throw and build confidence in his receivers.
Chris Brown in shotgun formation, drops back, looking for a receiver, fires down the left side to Zeblum. Kevin Zeblum with the reception. He's going in for another North Penn Knights touchdown with a little bit of a high step there as he goes in. Nice pass from Chris Brown to Kevin Zeblum for about a 63-yard touchdown reception.
Kevin just didn't, that stop and go route, he was not stopping and he was just going all the way to the touchdown. Nice job there. I really don't have much more to say than nice job. I mean, they executed it, perfectly. Coming out with 2 incomplete passes is rough on your quarterback. So we'll see how it goes.
Chris Brown converts the 3rd down conversion for a long 63-yard touchdown pass. Ball down once again, hits the ground. Dane Mengel-Spurio just looks up and launches it out the back of the end zone. The score will be 32-0. Here we'll see once again Chris Brown just drops back, fires it to a wide open Kevin Zeblum, and from there he just uses his acceleration and goes in for an easy score to make it 26-0 North Penn, leading the Truman Tigers. The score 32-0. There you see right inside the North Penn special teams huddle. They'll head out to the 40-yard line where Brian Ushler will kick the ball off. Ushler to kick the ball down to number 2, Hania Freeman, and number 44, Sean Lenigan. Ushler from his own 90 with only 20 seconds gone here in the second half. Ushler with a short kick down to about the 25-yard line where number 22, Rob Davalos, will pick it up. Davalos looking for the holes up to around the 45-yard line where kicker Brian Ushler takes him down. Flag on the play. Good return there by number 22, Rob Davalos, but there are flags on the play.
We're going to try and see the penalty here.
The penalty was called against North Penn.
No, I missed it. Gotta be honest with you, Sean. I missed it.
Personal foul called against the Knights, so that's going to be a big penalty. 15-yarder. 11 and a half left here in the third quarter. North Penn leads 32-0. Truman has it around the North Penn 40. Direct snap back to number 1, Trevor Smith. Smith around the outside, still in play. Not picking up too many more yards on the carry, maybe 1 or 2. It'll bring up a 2nd and 8 situation here for the Tigers. Kevin Zeblum on that previous drive, picking up his 3rd touchdown of the game. Inside 11 minutes left here in the third quarter. Truman has it from the North Penn 38. Direct snap to number 44, the fullback, Sean Lenigan, who gets brought down for a loss on the carry. It'll bring up a 3rd and 10 situation here for the Tigers. So, Kelly, like we've said all day, the North Penn defense would have to stand up strong, and they are doing so right now.
Yeah, they're playing excellent defense, nice and tough, nice and holding, Truman in not too many yards, not letting them pull too many tricks out of the bag. Let's just hopefully they can hold this here.
3rd and 10 situation here for the Truman Tigers. They'll line up from the North Penn 40. Direct snap back to number 44, Sean Lenigan, who gets brought down right around the 35-yard line. So it'll bring up 4th and 5 for the Tigers. Now will they go for it or punt it away? Doesn't look like they're going to be bringing in a punter.
I mean, this late in the game, well, not late in the game, but in the second half, 4th down, about 5 to go. I mean, if I were Truman, I would go for it. I mean, it's not like they're giving up horrendous ball location if they don't get it. But, I mean, it's worth a shot. It's not going to hurt you with the score being 26-0.
4th and 5, handoff back to number 22, I believe. Doesn't pick up a first down. It'll be North Penn possession as their offense heads back out onto the field. 1st and 10 for the North Penn Knights.
That's a nice defensive stand right there. I mean, as I said, they're not giving up too good of field position right there. But, I mean, it's not bad. And they went for it, and they did get they got very close. So, you just got to go for those type of things.
1st and 10 here for the Knights. With about 9 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter, Chris Brown will line up under center, with Kevin Zeblum and Larry Cannon still in his backfield. Inside handoff to Larry Cannon. Gets brought down for about a 2-yard pickup. To bring up about a 2nd and 8 situation here, but for the Knights. Chris Brown will head back out into his huddle. There you see Chris Brown giving the play call. Brown to take his line up to the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 8. Chris Brown under center. Whistles on the play. I believe they're going to get number 81, Doug Servey, for a full start there.
That's just mental and discipline. Nothing you can do but just work on that.
Full start called on North Penn. They'll be backed up 5 yards here. It'll bring up 2nd and a good 13 or 14 yards here for the Knights. With 8.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, Chris Brown comes up under center once again. The Knights will go in motion. Kevin Zeblum in the backfield. Handoff the other way to Janusz Wojda. Breaks it up for about a 9-yard carry. Nice counter play there by the Knights. It will bring up a 4th and 2 for the Knights. Actually, that'll be 3rd and short, I'm sorry. Inside 8 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter as Kevin Zeblum comes out of the game for the Knights. 3rd and about 1 yard here for the Knights. Chris Brown under center with Dan Brown in the backfield. Inside handoff to Brown, who just goes forward, moves the pile for an easy North Penn Knights first down. We haven't seen Dan Brown too much today. We've seen him for his 2 touchdown runs, but that's when North Penn had it deep in their red zone. And really, that's the main time we see him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's like, with the type of running that you have at North Penn, like Kevin Zeblum and I almost said Zach Thomas, but unfortunately he's out with a back injury. But Janusz Wojda and Larry Cannon, things like that, Dan Brown's only needed for certain things. And they also want to save Dan Brown. They don't want to show everything that Dan Brown can do. Well, they may write it tomorrow in the newspapers or whatever. Right. Dan Brown 2 touchdowns, or it may have been written previous. They don't want to show it as much. They want to make sure Dan Brown is, ready to go next week and things like that.
On that previous play, you saw Larry Cannon pick up a good 12, 13 yards to bring up another first down for the North Penn Knights.
Yeah, Larry Cannon's the type of kid that, again, like Mike Yeager, you don't expect them to get the ball. Right. He's the type of guy that just blocks and blocks and blocks. And I can tell you Larry is a worker that just works so hard. I mean, he's worked hard since 7th grade, I can tell you personally. As you see the Knights pick up a few more yards. And he just works and works and works. And what he works at so hard is just his techniques and what his job is to do. As we see number 10, John Haloti, going in. Go ahead.
6.5 minutes left here in the third quarter as we see some backups start coming into the game here for the Knights.
Yeah, I think Coach Patton's going to slowly weave their way in the third quarter. And maybe fourth quarter we're going to see a whole different change.
Chris Brown, still the North Penn quarterback, with a 2nd and 6 situation here. Chris Brown goes back, handoff to John Haloti, who tries to get around a defender, gets brought down for a 3-yard gain. Inside 6 minutes left here in the third quarter. North Penn still leads 32-0 with touchdowns by Kevin Zeblum, who has 3, and Dan Brown with 2. 3rd and 3 here for the Knights. From the Truman 34. Chris Brown under center. Zach Freiling into the game. Handoff to John Haloti, who goes around the end. Close to a first down. The signal from the referee gives the North Penn Knights a first down, so make it 1st and 10. North Penn Knights. They'll have the ball spotted around the Truman 30. And we're going to see Dane Mengel-Spurrio come into the game here for the Knights. Dane Mengel-Spurrio, the new North Penn Knights quarterback, will come up under center. Inside handoff. Picks up a couple yards there. Up to about the 25-yard line. 2nd and about 5 here for the Knights as Zach Freiling gets his first carry for 5 yards.
There's that long snapper, Sean. I don't know. He might be fighting you out for that position.
Handoff going around the right end. John Haloti picks up a couple of yards. Inside 5 minutes left here in the third quarter. 3rd and 3 here for the Knights. Dane Mengel-Spurrier will head back in to the huddle for the Knights. With about 4 minutes left here in the third quarter. Dane Mengel-Spurrier under center with Zach Freiling and John Haloti in his backfield. Inside handoff to Zach Freiling. Zach Freiling gets around a couple defenders. Brought down around the 9-yard line. Nice carry there by Zach Freiling.
Zach Freiling's the type of kid that you're going to hear more and more, along with Sean Brockington, along with the Chris Brown and Kevin Zeblums next year. But really, he's the class of 2003 that's really going to be up and coming. He looked good early and looks good, now. He's a strong, strong kid.
Zach Freiling coming in at only 5'7" and 170 pounds, but he's got a lot of muscle on him, and he can just run through the defense. Handoff to John Haloti, looking to cut back, and they'll blow that one dead. Apparently his knee went down, and by high school rules, once the knee contacts the ground, the play is over. It'll bring up 2nd and goal for the North Penn Knights with about 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Dane Mengel-Spurrier has it under center here for the Knights. Drop back inside, handoff to Zach Freiling, who gets brought down right around the line of scrimmage. That one might have gone for a yard loss or so. It'll bring up 3rd and 10 for the Knights.
And an injury update, Sean, that I found out at halftime. Did a little investigating of my own. Talked to student athletic trainer assistant Lindsey Brown, and she said Dan Chang rolled his ankle, which just kind of hurt his ankle that had been injured previously, as Dean Mengel calls a timeout for something. And he just rolled his ankle, just re-injuring it a little bit. Nothing too serious, and I think they're just kind of holding him back now, just letting him ice it and rehab it. And he'll work real hard this week, I'm sure. You know, stay in that whirlpool, ice it every night, heat it before, do the whole routine again. Yeah. So that's good news that it's nothing too serious, nothing broken, nothing sprained again. So just a simple roll.
3rd and 11 here for the Knights. It'll be a 3rd and goal situation. So really they have 11 yards till the end zone. They cannot get another first down. With 2:06 left here in the 3rd quarter, North Penn calls their first timeout here of the second half. As Coach Patton talks to his second string offense.
Great crowd out here tonight, Sean.
Yes, there is.
I mean, minus the band, who are lucky enough to be in Florida right now for Disney World. Pretty big crowd.
Yes,
A good outcome. Nice weather brings people out. So, good night for football.
As the coaches leave the North Penn huddle, they'll head right out to the line of scrimmage, where Dane Mengel-Spurrier will come under center. New entrant to the game here, number 41, Luke Kuklick, is in at fullback. Chris Brown, or Dane Mengel-Spurrier, rolls out to his right, passes it to Kuklick, who goes out of bounds. It'll bring up 4th and goal here for the North Penn Knights. 2 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter, as Dane Mengel-Spurrier will head back out to his huddle.
And if you notice, Luke Kuklick, who you just mentioned, is number 41. And if you remember last year, Clay was 14.
Okay.
Just a family coincidence there. I just thought I'd point that out to you, Sean.
Handoff to John Haloti, who cuts it back up for an easy touchdown for the Knights. Nice run there by John Haloti. He tried to bounce outside, saw a hole starting to form inside, and just cuts it back up, puts another 6 points up on the board.
And, well, Sean, we've hit that magic number of over 35. And so we are now going at the running clock, where nothing stops the clock, except for a timeout, of course, but nothing else. Nothing.
38-0, your new score. With 1:54 left here in the 3rd quarter. Looking for an extra point here, number 91, Bobby Mancino on. Bobby Mancino with the extra point up. Ben Good make the score 39-0. North Penn leads. Right now, North Penn just totally dominating the Truman Tigers. Their defense coming up big, and we'll show you that John Haloti run right again. He just cuts it right back up the middle, and John Haloti is just picking up.
John Haloti is, he really picks up, the yards when you need him. He's not one of those standouts. He's not exactly a starter on offense, but, when you put him in there, you get results. And that's really what you want in a backup running back such as John. John Haloti has worked his way up from Squires football to Penfield, all the way up to the high school, has never given up, has, been there the whole time. And he's really just a decent kid, I'm really happy that he got that touchdown because he has been scoring. He was on our cool graphic that we had in the beginning of points leaders so far, and he is up there. I mean, don't count John Haloti out so fast. So I'm really happy that, now we're 39-0. Right. We're running clock with 1:54 left, not running yet. But as soon as this kick is kicked, we will be in running clock mode, and it won't stop. So
John Haloti picking up his 4th touchdown of the season on that previous drive. We'll see number 90, Brian Ushler, kick the ball off from his own 40-yard line. Ushler with a long kick down to the 15-yard line where Truman will take it. They'll bring it back the opposite direction, and they're met by the North Penn special teams, drug out of bounds around the 35-yard line with 1 minute and 40 seconds and counting left here in the third quarter.
And basically, now you see the JV defense in, while Coach Patton is still the commander-in-chief, Coach Berger. These guys are really, looking to him. He is their usual JV coach and things like that. So let's see what they can do.
1st and 10 here for the Truman Tigers. And Kelly, I'm noticing your brother's out on the field right now.
Yes, bringing in the family tradition. Let's see how he does. I'm a little nervous right now, I have to admit.
Handoff to number 1, Trevor Smith, going around the outside end. Brought down for a 3-yard gain there for the Truman Tigers. So Coach Mike Patton getting his 2nd string defense in there right now to get a little bit of an action against the Truman Tigers starters.
Yeah, he's really looking at the future right now.
Right.
I mean, if he had a crystal ball, these are the kids that he would see. These are the kids that play JV and, work real hard, just as hard. They play Monday afternoons and things like that. These are the scout team players, which means they play against the varsity every day, which is not exactly an easy thing to do, to have, such players as Dan Chang being as a nice hit by number 42, Dave Broderick, coming at you full force, which is, our practices are 100%. And you having to take that and act as if you're Truman or Central Bucks West or East or whoever we're playing that week, which is not an easy task, I can tell you. So these kids, it's really good that they get this experience right now and that they get this, boost, because they work so hard at practice, but they don't get that reward.
That's going to do it for the third quarter. The North Penn Knights continue to lead 39-0. North Penn just looking unstoppable right now, taking a 39-0 lead into the final 12 minutes. So they're looking very impressive against the Truman Tigers. The Tigers will have it. When the fourth quarter starts up, Kelly, that third quarter, not too much happened. The clock continued a lot, but North Penn did get 2 touchdowns up on the board.
Yeah, you should see North Penn now come out in the fourth quarter a little more conservative, a little more looking at the future, as I said before. Third quarter, though, was a good job. Got the ball in the end zone. That's what you wanted. You wanted that comfort zone. 38-0. Now they're just going to look towards the shutout, hopefully, which they can get, and look towards, gaining momentum for next week. Next week, while it's not as important as last year and not as much hype, Central Bucks West is still on a rampage. They're 54, hopefully tonight. I heard the score at halftime was 16-0 over Pennsbury, which is just halftime, and which is a pretty close score.
Yeah, it is.
But I think, Sean, what you're really going to have to look at is it's 39-0, which we've scored 7 touchdowns? Six touchdowns. I'm sorry, lost count. 6 touchdowns, but it's 39. It should be 42.
Right.
That's 3 points after, that's 3 PATs, points after touchdowns, which they've missed.
Right.
If you think back 2 years ago, North Penn lost the game 13-12. Extra points missed.
Very good point.
That's something that you really need to focus on. And I can tell you, Coach Penn is not going to take this lightly.
Right.
Special teams is going to be out there this week working on that because these points matter. It may not matter tonight and it may not matter next week, but it is going to matter at one point.
Exactly.
So I think that's, while third quarter was a very big positive, you need to look towards the future a little bit now.
Ball gets knocked out of bounds there. 4th and about 3 here for the Truman Tigers. Inside 11.5 minutes left here in the final quarter.
I know Tim Shorter, a real nice guy. Helps out in the Montgomery County All-Star football game a lot. Tim's a great guy.
4th and 2 here for the Tigers.
Yep, they should certainly give it to him. 4th and a long.
Direct snap to number 1, Trevor Smith, who picks up the first down. He'll cross into North Penn territory.
Sean, Trevor Smith, a 6'1", 190-pound senior from Truman, really looks good out there. I mean, he's one of the players that North Penn had to concentrate on. All week they've been saying Trevor Smith, Trevor Smith, Trevor Smith. And, you know, you look at him and you still, you know, he is getting the yards.
Yeah, he is.
I'm not sure the exact numbers, but he is getting the yards needed.
First and 10 here for the Truman Tigers.
So first down for Truman on the North.
Inside 11 minutes. Quarterback drops back to pass, throwing down the field. Complete pass there, thrown by number 16, Craig Gansworth. Nice completion down the sideline, picking up a good 30 yards. So down around the 20-yard line, first and 10 for the Truman Tigers on the biggest Truman play of the day. First and 10 here for the Tigers.
So the Tigers first and 10 at the North Penn 20-yard line. They go to Smith.
Hand off to Trevor Smith, trying to get around North Penn defenders. Cuts to the outside. Trevor Smith running down, knocked out of bounds inside the 5-yard line.
There's a flag on the play.
The 2 or 3 yard line.
Believe that will be against Truman, so it will be brought back.
I believe it's going to fall on number 59, Dan Crozier.
That's what I was thinking, too. He blocked the guy after the play, really had no significance.
Yeah, I think
back
that might be that other, you know, I'm not sure, though.
Personal foul called against the Truman Tigers. They'll be knocked back 15 yards. That's going to definitely put a halt to the Truman drive. Inside 9.5 minutes left here in the final quarter. They get down inside their 5-yard line, and then to have a penalty against them 15 yards, it's going to knock them back to around the 35-yard line, which can't be good for the Truman Tigers.
And Sean, I think that that frustration now is just coming out in Crozier. His team's down. He's a senior. His team's down 39-0 right now in the fourth quarter, and I think that's just frustration. He shouldn't really, you know, that's basically unsportsmanlike too, but it's also just a lot of frustration coming out. He's just busting his butt out there right now, and it's just not paying off. And it's very frustrating, especially for linemen when they're pushing and pushing and pushing, and nothing's happening because the defense is setting it down or the offense is making mistakes. It doesn't matter, but I think that's just frustration coming out.
First and 25, pass out in the flat to number 1, Trevor Smith, trying to get around North Penn defenders. Brought down by number 86, Phil Myers. With 8.5 minutes left here in the fourth quarter, North Penn leads 39-0. Second and 25 coming up here for the Tigers. With 8 minutes now left in the fourth quarter, like we said, the clock is now just continuously just ticking down. This quarter is going to be over before we know it. Second and 25 here for the Tigers. Number 16, Craig Scanworth, back in shotgun formation. Drop back, play action pass to Trevor Smith. Looking long, Craig Gansworth finds number 22. Ball knocked down. Nice play there by Phil Riccardi. Kelly, he almost comes up with the interception, but most importantly, he breaks up a touchdown pass.
Sean, I don't think I can handle much more of this. You have no idea how nervous I am. But that was a nice play by my brother, if I can say so myself.
7 minutes and 17 and counting left here in the fourth quarter. Phil Riccardi just lined that one up.
But the reason I'm so speechless is my heart is in my throat right now.
Third and 25 for the Truman Tigers. Timeout called by the Tigers.
Now this is the only time the clock will stop.
Right.
So,
as North Penn leads 39-0 with 3 touchdowns by Kevin Zeblum, 1 by John Haloti, and 2 by Dan Brown. Kelly, what more can you say?
not really much, but you know, I think you saw something from everybody. You saw great touchdowns by 2 seniors, John Haloti, Dan Brown. You saw excellent receiving by Mark Fisher, Mike Yeager. Larry Cannon ran the ball tonight. Larry Cannon blocked. Mark Fisher blocked. Punt team managed to come on the field only once this game. We managed to hold them to make them punt about 6 or 7 times tonight. I mean, just excellent defense all around, excellent offense all around. And unfortunately, hopefully this momentum will continue. And it's unfortunate that last week we didn't have this momentum we picked it up a little too late. It was a good game last week. We held Brian Tingle, an excellent running back, to so many yards. And unfortunately, they just came out on top. Tonight, they're really showing what North Penn Knights football is all about.
With 7:07 left here in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 25 here for the Truman Tigers. Craig Gansworth takes the shot, or Trevor Smith takes the direct snap, running around the left end, and gets knocked out of bounds.
Trevor Smith carries.
Inside 7 minutes left here in the fourth quarter.
Stop by number 42, Dave Broderick.
39-0 still your score. It'll bring up fourth down and about 12 here for the Tigers.
And this is a play you're just going to, if you're Truman Tigers, I think you're just going to go for it. This late in the game,
right.
As I said before, not bad field position if you don't get the first down. And they might pass, though, here. Look out. Look out, Phil Riccardi. You never know.
4th and 12, direct snap. Back to the quarterback, looking to pass, fires over the middle. Overthrown. Nice coverage by the North Penn secondary. Causes a turnover. North Penn will get it back. 1st and 10 for North Penn from their 26-yard line. Inside 6 minutes left here in the fourth quarter as Dane Mengel-Spurrier will head back out onto the field for the Knights. Timeout called by the Truman Tigers.
Again, the only time the clock will stop because they're up 35 points. I just lost my thought. As you see North Penn Water Girls and Coach Berger heading out. Coach Berger right now is kind of taking over a little, not taking over, but he's assisting Coach Penn. He knows how this defense and offense plays. He works with these guys in practice, but also more importantly on their game days. He's the coach that they look to, who calls the defenses, calls the offenses, things like that. So right now he's just kind of saying, he knows which ones play better at what position. He knows, where everyone fits into this whole scheme of things. So that's the only reason that Coach Berger's really heading out there. He also coaches on varsity the linebackers and backers, or linebackers mainly, and secondary. So he's really concentrating. He's got to be very pleased because his linebackers tonight had a difficult job with the offense that the Truman Tigers run. As we said, it's different because, they hike it to the tailback and the wingback and the fullback and the receivers. I mean, there's passing, but there's running, but there's not a quarterback. Sean, I'm lost. I'm still lost.
I'm still with you. Dane Mengel-Spurrier takes the snap, handoff up the middle, picks up minimal yardage with 5 minutes and 40 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. It'll be 2nd and 7 here for North Penn.
I'm not sure, though, if Truman has any timeouts left.
I know they used 2. I don't know about their third one.
I'm not sure about that one. I think, I don't know. So they're down to minimal timeout, so this clock might just keep on ticking.
Dane Mengel-Spurrier with the inside handoff picks up a couple of yards. John Haloti with a yard or so gain for the Knights. With about 5 minutes left here in the fourth quarter, North Penn continues to lead the Truman Tigers 39-0. This would be great confidence for the North Penn defense to just take into the CB West game with a shutout if they could pull that one off. Dane Mengel-Spurrier under center, 3rd and 7. Inside handoff. Picks up a couple yards. John Haloti with another 3 or 4 yards. Inside 4.5 minutes left now in the fourth quarter. It'll bring up 4th and about 3. Little bit of confusion here from the North Penn sideline.
Number 7, Pat McCourt, got there and then came back. So maybe we'll see him in the next few plays.
Dane Mengel-Spurrier under center. Inside handoff. The pile still moving forward, and it looks like North Penn manages to pick up a first down out of that. 1st and 10 for the Knights as they convert on 4th down. Inside 4 minutes left here in the final quarter.
Stop by number 21.
1st and 10 from the North Penn 35.
North Penn.
Dane Mengel-Spurrio, still the North Penn quarterback. Spurrio under center. Hands off to John Haloti, trying to get to the outside. Brought down for a couple-yard gain.
John Haloti carries.
It'll bring up 2nd and 7 for the North Penn Knights. Getting close to almost 3 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter. As we see sophomore number 80, Brandon Yule, enter the game for the Knights. He'll be replacing number 88, Alan Seipt. Under 3 minutes now left here in the 4th quarter. Dane Mengel-Spurrio under center, handoff to John Haloti. Haloti is trying to get to the outside.
Ooh.
He gets brought down after he's out of bounds. No flags on the play.
Haloti carries.
Picks up a couple yards. It'll be 3rd and 2 here for the Knights with 2.5 minutes left here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, we're going to look at that play again by John Haloti and watch that. Whew. Yeah, he got clobbered into number 67, Mark Lewinko.
Haloti was out of bounds and got knocked down. That should have been a penalty, but North Penn goes for it on 3rd and 1. Fall a little short, so it'll bring up 4th and 2 here for the Knights with 2 minutes left here in the 4th quarter.
Recovered by Pat McCart. 4th down.
Dane Mengel-Spurrio will come up under center. 2 running backs behind him. Spurrio with the handoff to number 41, Luke Kucklick, who picks up another North Penn first down. So
Nice job.
Dane Mengel-Spurrio continues to march his team down the field, just tearing time off the clock.
Now we're going to see number 4, Justin Woody, enter the game at quarterback, replacing Dane Mengel-Spurrio. Just more experience given to him and, seeing this could be the future quarterback in North
Right.
Penn.
Justin Woody with about a minute and a half left here in the 4th quarter. He might get to see 2 or 3 plays here. Handoff to number 41, Luke Kucklick, picking up another North Penn Knights first down.
I have to tell you, Sean, I did not know Luke Kuchlik could play fullback. I had no idea.
Luke Kucklick listed as a tight end and linebacker, but he's
Looks
looking really
really
good
good.
out there. Yeah, he is. Inside a minute left here. North Penn with a 1st and 10 opportunity. Justin Woody, handoff inside to number 41, Luke Kucklick, who picks up another couple of yards.
He's just keep on going. I never knew this. I learned something new today.
Stop by number 88.
About 30 seconds left here.
But I tell you, I also learned Jimmy Williams,
That's true.
first
Trivia
1,000-yard
question.
rusher for North Penn. Did not know that one. You fooled me with that, Sean.
That's my job. 2nd and 7 here for the Knights. With about 20 seconds left, this will be the last play for the Knights. Justin Woody under center. Handoff to
no.
number 5, Phil Riccardi, who tries to get around the end, slips just a bit,
Phil Riccardi
picks up a couple yards, and that's going to do it for the North Penn Knights and Truman Tigers. North Penn wins 39-0 with big games coming from Kevin Zeblin with 3 touchdowns, Dan Brown with 2, and John Haloti with 1. However, Kelly, the story of the game, the North Penn defense just all around shut down the Truman Tigers, and they led to the shutout.
And Sean, coming into the next game, Central Bucks West next week right here on North Penn Television, that's what you need. You need a shutout. Central Bucks West is playing a tough game, it sounds like, versus Pennsbury. They're going to need this momentum. Defense needs to show up next week. Offense needs to show up next week. They both showed up tonight. Excellent game. Not much more to say. Dan Brown, great job. Kevin Zeblin, great job. John Haloti, congratulations. Whole North Penn squad played wonderful. And I'm going to go home and take a deep breath.
Great overall team effort. Like we said, the North Penn Knights beat the Truman Tigers by a final score of 39-0. For the rest of the North Penn television staff and Kelly Riccardi, I'm Sean Hagan. Thanks for joining us for North Penn football. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.